You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 64. I'm your boy Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest, he is the founder and owner of Music Education on MEOW Academy. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure you all will be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with Terrence Baldwin. T. Baldwin, how's it going, bro?
Everything's made for love. How things your way?
Glad to hear that, man. All is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
I'm humble for the opportunity, my brother.
Yes, sir. Of course, we're here to talk about music education on MEOW Academy. But before we go there, let's get to know the man behind the brand. What's your story?
Born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. I mean, no, that was a joke. But real talk, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, man. Brought up by my mom, sister, younger brother. And, I got into music kind of on the slick, Of course, I was in the youth choir, but when my younger brother came around, my mother used to buy him these xylophone toys. And I was learning how to play Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby by ear. Down, 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 down. So I was able to take toys and really play songs. But coming up on the west side of Montgomery, it wasn't the coolest thing to have to go to piano lessons, So I'd be outside playing football, basketball with the homies. And my mama spend money on me taking piano lessons. She calling me in off the football field to come practice piano. And that didn't jive with me. So in my early years, I kind of fought back from my musical gift. But once I became engaged at Pilgrim Rest Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Walter E. Ellis, Minnie Stringer was the minister of music. They had me in the youth choir, and they just kind of submerged me in gospel music. They taught me how to teach music. As I went to Capitol Heights Junior High School, Carol Cheatham, Keith Bearden in the junior high school band. Before you know it, like 7 days a week, I'm around music, whether it's at school, whether it's at church, whether, I'm auditioning to go to the Apollo. I remember in junior high school, I went to the Apollo, got a chance to go to New York, rode the train all the way to New York. We ain't had no money for a plane ticket. We had to ride the train. And I got a chance to participate in that. Once I made it to high school, Robert E. Lee, I joined CPAC, and you learned a lot about musical theater under Randy Foster, Angela Dixon. Man, that was a beautiful experience because in high school, you get to work with world-class people in theater, piano, singing, the best this community has to offer. So CPAC, which is now BTW, is still doing this thing to this day. So all of those things played a role into me becoming the performer, educator, and entrepreneur that I am in the field of music. And so Alabama State University, I got my degree in music education. Spent some time with Dr. Stewart in the theater arts department. And after that, I toured with Ruben Studdard, of course, sold out. And so all of that stuff is just kind of spilled over to T-Ball and music and music education on wheels.
Wow, man, what a story, what a journey. Hometown hero, and hats off to Mom Dukes for pushing you on over to those piano lessons, man. She was paying for it, and look how it paid off for you.
Oh, yeah, man, it's wonderful. She still, no matter what kind of accolades I'm getting now, she's going to be standing there. Remember who paid for all of this? She gonna make sure she remind me.
Much respect to Mom Dukes, man. That's all right, man. That's a powerful story, man. So you attended the Alabama State University. What was the HBCU experience like for you?
Man, it was cool, man. I tell people now that I was kind of a nerd when I got to ASU because, coming from BTW and CPAC, that's what you did. You rehearsed 3-4 months for a performance. So every day after school, you rehearsing. And then you do this big performance. And then after you do this big performance, you rehearse 3 to 4 months for your next performance. And so as soon as I got on Alabama State, I had a scholarship for the choir, scholarship for the theater. And we were practicing for plays. So the college life of hanging out I didn't know what the union was because I was in the theater. I was in a music building practicing, learning how to sing in different languages, preparing for competitions, the choir. So, I didn't really get that part going to the club, going to the road. I didn't get that until I became affiliated with the Bruhs. Shout out to A5A, Beta Upsilon chapter. But, a party hop, like I didn't even know what a party hop was until the night I crossed. And all my LBs were, oh, like that's what y'all do at the club. So that's what college life was about for me, preparing. Um, I didn't even know that I was supposed to go to college and hang out and kick it like that. Ain't that a shame?
Wow, man. Nah, man, your path was your path, man. You did the studious route. You stayed in there and did the choir thing, got them scholarships, intact, I'm pretty sure. And it sounds like you graduated in 4 years. You ain't wasting no time, huh?
See, that's what's really not cool about what I did. Because, like, if you hear me tell you that, hey, I was in class, that didn't mean I didn't have a report card full of C's. so, so I didn't get done any faster than anybody else. But no, real talk, I did not fail a lot, but I think I did it in 5 years, 5.5 years.
Okay.
Because somewhere in there, midway through college for me, I started gigging with a band called Style Band. So I realized on the weekends I could make money. Like, we were going to play corporate, private gigs. It was an old school band that had these shiny suits on. So I started gigging in college. So even on the weekends, basketball games and stuff, man, I was somewhere making some money, coming back Sunday for church, playing at church, and then back at it Monday, rehearse, going to class and rehearsing for the next production.
Man, that's all right, man. You had a ways to get some money in college. I mean, and most of us in college, man, we broke, man. We waiting on the next refund check, man. You was getting to it every weekend, and just how things planned out for you. So I'm pretty sure it all worked out. Finished in 5.5 years, man. But most important thing is you finished and you got a chance to tour while you were in college. And just going back a little bit to your upbringing. So you don't come from a musically inclined family. Because I heard you telling your story how you kind of just mistakenly fell into music. So no one in your family was musically inclined. You the first one.
So all right. So I do have a spread out family. My mother sings. From what I've known about my father was, he got records all over the place. He loved music. And as I meet more of my family, as I go through life, I do have some musical people in my family. But arts, entertainment, like I have a sister. She's into radio. I have cousins who are into radio. So I think industry things do kind of float in my bloodline. Now, I don't have this close knit family to where, we know these things, but like I say, as these things are revealed to me, I am seeing where entertainment, media, performing arts are in my bloodline.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense, man. It makes perfect sense. So on to music education on Wills Academy. Let's talk about that. When was it founded and what inspired the name?
So, as a performing musician, and we then went through a few recessions. The gig life was very seasonal. You have summers that are filled with weddings. You have football season, but you will have certain moments of the year where you're not working, you're not gigging. And so by the time the tour life had slowed down for me, I was spending a lot of time at home Monday through Friday, not doing anything, waiting to the weekend for a gig. And I'm like, man, I could be making use of this time. I could be making money, but now I done had a good 7, 8 years of not clocking in from 8 to 5. And it's like, man, I don't know if clocking in is for me. What can I do? But I have had this 10-year stretch of me writing contracts, learning how to be a businessman. So I'm looking at the trends of where a lot of schools don't have music programs. And I've always had a desire to own my own school. So it's like, what if I can create a business that provided music education for schools Yeah, they're taking music out of the schools. Yeah, these schools don't want to pay a full-time teacher to be there all day, every day, pay the insurance and all the fringe benefits of having a certified adult staff member. But what if I can create an entity that uh, facilitated music education services for schools that don't have music programs, or even if you do have music programs, how can we accentuate it? And hence, that's when we started Music Education on Wheels, because I saw a video around 2012, 2013 of how music education was able to enhance the lifestyle of a senior citizen with autism, nonverbal. And I've always felt like music was my superpower. So I thought that was so cool. I started to research on what are these things that music can kind of intensify and enhance in a person. So that was one of the founding programs, Spectrum Jam, that MEOW Academy was founded on. How can we enhance the life of people with special needs through music? And so we started at Katoma Elementary School with an after school program for 2 years. They didn't have a music program. And we went over there after school twice a week and provided music education services. And then that turned into us getting a storefront. And we've been moving ever since.
Wow, man, that's amazing. So I'm interested to know. So with the academy, of course, these past couple of years, the time we've been in with the pandemic and things of that nature, how were you all able to navigate doing lessons during the pandemic?
Man, so I'm a little bit behind on news. Like, I don't really watch the news. And so I remember my wife calling me and said, "Oh, we out of school tomorrow and the next day because COVID." I'm like, okay. And then it wasn't until like I got home and I saw the news. I was like, wait a minute. They started talking about shutting down. And so I was at home for like 3 days and I'm like, wow, I got this academy over here. Uh, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to sustain. Like, I was scared, but I immediately got up and sent emails and text messages, and I purchased Zoom, and we started doing Zoom lessons right away because I can't worry about what COVID's doing and who falls off. I just got to make sure my mission goes forth in an effective way, regardless of the circumstances. So every day I got up and I came to the academy by myself and did Zoom lessons for the majority of my daytime. Uh, my staff that stayed on, man, we persevered through COVID. And same thing with TBM. We got up, we couldn't gig. We created this virtual gig session every week where we invited different singers from the community. So that stuff really caught on. And I think it really catapulted us because, I can't imagine spending 3, 4, 5, 6 months of stagnant, not doing anything, not teaching, not performing. That cannot help your future. So I was so glad that we were driven to move forward. And when COVID kind of let up on us, that's when we got our partnership with Lowndes County. We got our partnership with Valiant Cross. So that work coming off of that time, coming off COVID and persevering through it, it just kind of catapulted us to a whole nother level. And it's only going higher.
Man, well, congrats on those partnerships and much respect to you being able to persevere throughout the pandemic because a lot of businesses weren't able to adjust, pivot. But it sounds like MEOW Academy, man, kept rolling. You got that Zoom popping. And now like you said, man, y'all off and running, man. So much respect to you for figuring out how to pivot in the pandemic.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to cover three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. You pretty much already covered your aha moment as to when you first had the idea to create the academy. So let's go right into the action portion. How long did it take you to get started, create a logo, come up with a name after you had the idea to create a school?
So if I'm honest, like I told you, with Sold Out and TBM, I had already had some experience with graphics, logos, business cards. So the template had already kind of been set for me on that. And so having those resources, it was just kind of already etched in me. And but these days, man, it's so easy, man, you can go to fiverr.com, And man, you can get some good work done off of Fiverr for a low rate. Just getting you a business card, website. Man, I even, you know, people have these QR codes. You don't even need a business card. Zap your phone, you got my info. But that's kind of how it was for me by the time I made it to MEOW.
Okay, now that makes sense, man. You already rocking and rolling in the other avenues, so it was a seamless transition. So that last portion, that audacity, it takes courage and audacity to step out there. For you to see the schools were lacking music, they were taking music out of the schools. It took audacity to create what you created. Who or what gave you that courage, that audacity to step out there?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Look, man, I'm so glad you said that. Like, audacity is like the fuel as an entrepreneur that you need, because like when I first started MEOW, I was so scared. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and say, like, man, you're not even the best musician in your circle. What gives you the audacity to start a music school? And a lot of times it's not your talent. Actually, the more talented people aren't going to do what it takes to start a business because they're so stuck on the talent. They can't separate from their talent long enough to actually do what's needed to start a business. Starting a business is humble. Like, I can't tell you how many months I worked, and I was only working to pay the bills. I wasn't making any money. Man, it's not a lot of musicians that's willing to work for months and months for free. And ain't nobody around to see it and clap for you. You know what I'm saying? So, but what gave me the audacity, man, I was fired from a job in between now. I was teaching at Pike Road Schools, and I got fired on April Fools. And man, it hurt me to my soul. I don't even know why I got fired. And it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying this to kind of put them out, because I cheer for Pike Road to this day. And actually at this moment, I thank them for firing me, because it took the ceiling off for me and I was able to soar from there. But the first 2 days of them firing me, I was hurt. I was tore down. But that third day, I was like, man, you got to get up and get it. And so that's when MEOW went from being an after school program to being a storefront, and now being a contractor for 3 counties here in the River Region area. So that's what gave me the audacity.
Wow, man, I appreciate that transparency. And like you said, to your point, man, yeah, they fired you, and I understand the first 2 days you had to let it sink in, but after you made a decision to go after it, you did. And you said something very powerful, man. Like, the most talented people typically don't create stuff because I believe they overthink it. Like, they're so talented, they're so like they get into this rut of, I don't know, I ain't gonna say, yeah, overthinking, overanalyzing, like smelling themselves as the old folks say, and they're like, I'm too good for that. Like, people will find me, like, or they think they're not willing to go without people clapping for them. Like you said, like, they're way too talented. So that audacity is very key. And hats off to you, man. Like, you made it happen, and for whatever reason they fired you, man. It all worked out. God's plan.
That's right.
Yes, sir. So MEOW Academy has done great things, and I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are your short-term and long-term goals for the Academy?
Man, so long-term goals, really, these are just goals, period, right now. But we need our own building. We need our own building where kids with special needs can come in, where they have sensory music rooms. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing studios in the same building, like, and when I say studio, piano studios, guitar, drum studios, and then we have music production studios. Because what good is me nurturing this relationship with music education for your childhood? What do we do with it when we become adults? Can we create a music industry here in our community where people can have a full-time career in music? And I'm not talking about gigging, playing the piano and singing for a restaurant, but can you make $80,000 being a musician in this community? And can you get insurance being a musician? And I ain't talking about just teaching at a school, working for the state. Can you work for a company, start your own company? Can we create music that the world can grasp onto? Can we create music that can attach with the mission of an Alabama State University or a city of Montgomery that can catapult it and just make a worldwide impact through music? That's the power that music has. And I plan on shaking the ground here in Montgomery so we can make a worldwide impact.
Sounds good to me, man. Those are some great goals, and definitely have no doubt that you'll make those goals come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. We're going to push through.
Got to. So this is a bit off the grid. So I want to ask you a question. You being a musician, you being a performer, you being in this field at a high level, what's your go-to music genre? Or a better question, do you listen to a lot of music? And if so, what's your go-to genre?
Man, I'm kind of embarrassed to say. I tell friends all the time, I listen to more hip hop than I listen to anything, and I'll tell you why. Um, Hip hop has the unfair advantage of being able to encompass all genres. So some of the most soulful music you can hear on some hip hop songs. So I listen to Anderson .Paak. I like him. Game. I ain't gonna even call out my discography because I might embarrass you, but
Man.
I really do. I listen to more hip hop than I listen to anything else. And you can get your gospel in hip hop. You can get your R&B in hip hop. You can get country. You can get jazz in hip hop. So that's one of the things I appreciate in hip hop.
No, much respect, and I agree wholeheartedly. I'm hip hop head myself, and hip hop is definitely multifaceted, but it gets put into this box like it's just a bunch of cats rapping over beats. But it's a lot of soulful beats out there. It's a lot of, like you said, gospel. Yeah, man, like hip hop, man, is multifaceted. So that's nothing to be embarrassed about, man. Like it's all good. So that's so as you preparing for shows and things like that, when you touring and stuff, like do you listen to hip hop to like get yourself geeked up for a performance, or what's your preparation?
Yeah, that's it. I love, like I said, Anderson .Paak. I've been on Anderson .Paak since before the whole Silk Sonic wave, and he has albums that you can play from top to bottom. Although I do love BJ the Chicago Kid on the R&B tip, and of course, R&B tip. I love PJ Morton, Moonchild. That's a favorite group of mine. So, I'm in there. I'm on this new guy, Dixon, as well. Dixon, you heard that album?
I heard about him on another podcast I listened to. They play one of his songs, Soulful Dude. I got to check out his album. Is it on point?
Oh my goodness. top to bottom.
Bet. Say less. I'm gonna check it out.
Yes, sir.
Nah, man, that's dope, man. So as we wrap up the podcast, man, I want to ask a $1 million question. I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness of Montgomery, whether you were born here or you lived here, significant period of your life for college and military. You being a hometown hero, what makes you the most proud to be from the Gump?
Man, what makes me more proud, the Gump is not what it used to be. Look, we are the cradle of the Confederacy, and to now be in a city hall where you have a black mayor. We got a lot of things that's going on downtown, and actually, me personally being able to be a part of the leadership and moving the community forward, like you never would have thought in your wildest dreams that happened. So I'm very proud of my city and how it has evolved.
Yes, sir. Powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff. So how can the people connect with you, T. Baldwin? What are your social media handles and website?
My personal is at Wolfgang Baldwin, at MEOW Academy, at Sold Out Groove, all of that stuff. If you find one, you'll be able to find others, but look me up.
Yes, sir. And of course, I'll put all of this information in the description of the episode. Hey, T. Baldwin, thanks again for the conversation, bro. I really appreciate you.
Anytime, bro. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. We gone, but before we leave, remember, be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.